what do we got? This is episode 281. Still catching foxes. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, you just did it.
You just did it. That's it. I'm going to use that one.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
First try. One take.
On this episode of the Tone...
Yeah.
What? Oh, sorry.
No, you do it. You
Okay.
You freaking do it.
On this episode of Tone Control, Alex from... what I call it?
Pedal Sound.
Alex from Pedal Sound. Pedal Sound Coppers joins us to talk about Coppersound pedals of all things. And desk lights.
And desk lights. 10 years of Coppersound. We're taking a trip down memory lane on the Tone Control. Ding.
Ding. Well. So everybody, if for those watching the video version, you already know because I'm not fancy enough to create a separate scene that doesn't reveal already right from the beginning that Alex from Coppersound Pedals is joining us today for a very special episode, a very touching episode of the Tone Control.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's been, spoilers for all the listeners only, I guess.
Yeah, for audio mode. I just, I have to bring my worlds together.
Right. So we're going to be chatting in a little bit about 10 years of Coppersound, which I think is crazy to think about. And I was reflecting a bit on this earlier today, and I was like, man, so that's like the Tone Control's been around just a little bit longer. That means I've known Alex a little bit longer than that even. And so it's just weird to think like, oh man, I've actually known this guy for a pretty long time now. And we have like a kind of a storied history from playing in bands and stuff all those years ago. But now it's like, oh, this is like a real thing now, or has been a real thing for a long time. And it's just like in my face. I take it for granted so much. It's like, oh, my friend has this pedal company. He does really cool stuff. And then I'm like, oh, shit, no, they're like the thing. They're like really doing it. I got to remind myself.
You see things. You see things in magazines.
Because I can just like text you sometimes. And, I asked you what kind of soldering iron I should get. And we're just chatting,
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, it can be easy to get lost. I'm thinking right now, actually, back to the days of your guys' band play with mine. We were the telly crew. We had like 4 guys, 4 tellies.
Yeah.
We were real original, but it's
But this was when, like 2011 or so? 2011, 2012 had to be.
Yeah, around there. Yeah,
that was the time.
Justin was in the area.
Yeah.
Yes, that would have been. I was back in New England. Well, okay, so
no,
in
you
the
hadn't
area,
left.
Yeah, I hadn't left. So in my head, though, I was already back in that era where I had gone to Boston, but that was still counted as in the area compared to now.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I'm back up. I'm picking up what you guys are putting down.
Yeah, man. So crazy. I think real quick before we get into it, though, I just mentioned this on the pre-show.
Yeah.
I just want to mention something quickly about the riff competition. Voting is still open, and we haven't really discussed about when we're going to close it, but it's currently still open, and so that means it'll be open when you hear this as well, which is fine. I want to make sure that you all know that even if you did not participate in sending in a submission, you can vote on the submissions you heard. So please come in to Discord, find the links, do all that, and just like vote. Get somebody a pedal. It's going to be awesome.
Do it. Pick your faves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not necessarily, Eric, but...
Yeah, we're not going to pick you. I mean, we're not going to pick because we are not voting. But also, yeah. And I am still, like we said last time, we're going to do a riff, right, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, it kind of seems like I've probably got until like... the holiday break
I just mean like
time.
We'll do it. We don't have to do it like at a certain time, but just eventually, right? We're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in. Okay.
Yes.
So
absolutely,
anyway,
definitely.
That's where we're at. What do you guys want to do? Like, how do we want to roll in today? Should we just dive in with 10 years of Coppersound?
I say push the random button and we go. Because like, what else are we
Okay.
gonna do? Come on. All right.
Bullshit about our lives. Yeah. Oh, a classic.
I think it played that same one last episode.
And I think I was like,
what's
oh.
gonna happen. That's
So,
all right.
Anyway, Alex, I also mentioned before we just hit record, I went down to my basement and grabbed a couple Coppersound oldies. You made this for me in 2014 as a wedding gift.
Damn. Oh, yeah.
So, right, which this is my 10-year anniversary, and this year was. And for the audio listener, it's a little mini enclosure, and it's blue with a piece of like hand-hammered copper on, like a sheet of copper on the front, and then
Get it?
splattered. Yep, I get it. Splattered with black and white paint, and it's a knob and a switch, and that's it. And it's just a volume knob on a momentary switch, and so you could get cool pickup switch toggles sounds like you do on Les Pauls and stuff, but with my Telecasters. So yeah, it was like an underdriver, but you could like dial it in and all the way to mute. So, and it was momentary.
Did you have, was the telegraph pedal a thing when you made that thing for Derek?
So not technically. No, I think before, without jumping into the timeline, that was in 2015.
Okay.
So like
So,
obviously
like,
the idea, like
the idea exists, and here's an early early start of an idea or something
so
like that.
I'm just now realizing that this is like proto telegraph, and I had this this idea was mine, mine alone.
yeah, that's some pre-telegraph kill switch right there.
And I remember specifically it being about wanting to have that like pickup switch thing you can do with four knob guitars, but on my Strat or my Tele or something. So yeah,
cool. I had all but forgot about that one.
I see it. I use it. It's on boards off and on all the time because it takes up no room and it requires no power. So it's just, do I have an extra patch cable? Bam, it's in there. Do some cool shit with it sometimes at the end of a song. Absolutely.
And that back then too, with 2014 kind of being the start of this timeline that we're going to go over, like that was like, it was the Wild West for me. So it was like within reason, take on anything that anybody asked me, hey, can you make it this? It's like, I think so.
Try.
I'm learning. Like
Let's
I can
see.
make it look really good. You know, like I can do some cool paint jobs and put some splatters on it and, lace it with some type of frillies, and then maybe you'll like what's inside because I'm learning here. But it was nice having at the onset, like people like you, like with that playground,
Yeah.
which I feel like a lot of us builders had, like that's usually where people start off, just making those one-offs and stuff for friends. That's
because
really,
I've noticed this with some other projects I've taken on where it's kind of like I want to have a project right now, but I don't need anything. Like I don't have anything that I want to do for me. But you're kind of looking for something. Yeah, I know that feeling. So what do you want to do here? Like, do you want to just start at this beginning of your timeline and like walk us through like the onset of Coppersound, like the brainchild, so to speak?
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, I think it was last night I was kind of going through, I had been procrastinating and been putting off writing my Premiere Guitar article. So I was like, oh crap, I got to finish that. So I finished that and I was like, oh crap, I'd been putting off the tone control thing. Crap, nothing like the 11th hour. So I put together, I was like, well, let me just try to come up with like a timeline. Because looking back through the archives, like we kept spreadsheets for everything, for like a lot of like serial numbers and like finishes and stuff. But it wasn't till like 2016 that I actually recorded dates on stuff like in spreadsheets. So a lot of it is like, it's like, felt like I'm dusting off to find the dinosaur bone through my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, hey, oh, cool. Here's a model of something I started in 2015. No serial number till model 20. What was up with that? What's going on? Like,
you just started
so
with 20?
The first serial number says 20.
Yeah. So no. 1 through 19 is there, but no date. know anything.
Oh.
Just like, hey, these 19 exist and they're this color. Isn't that awesome? Who the heck knows when it was made? So you kind of have to retroactively think like, well, if number
What
20
would
was
I
made
have
here,
done? Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And I
I
realized
hate
how
doing
much.
that with my old brain. Like, what would 10 year ago me have done in this scenario?
So it was just kind of like digging back of like, well, if it was roughly here, probably a couple months prior to that, like, and that's the thing too,
Yeah.
like looking back, like we're gonna get to like the new release that we just did, but like 10 years ago, we didn't really have like traditional models or press releases or like news syndicates we were sending stuff out
Mm.
to. And like, that type of hit the circuit of like jump on the podcast, have the press release go out to people, have your social medias,
Totally.
all that type of stuff.
Yep.
It was just like, hey, this is a cool thing. Maybe you guys will like it. And then like 20 people liked it. And that's awesome. And then like, okay, now the next thing. And then so I think going through this like evolution would be that was just where
Yeah,
my
so it was
mind
like
went to.
early on, it was like a pretty organic word of mouth thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it gets picked up and like guitarists, like everybody's just always talking about their gear. So it's like it was like kind of the perfect storm of things. So see, I'm looking at the sheet here. 2014 custom work only, including utility devices. So that's like the flashlight and stuff, and the first strategy ever made.
Right.
And yeah, and then the flashlight in early 2015, which now just feels like a classic Coppersound thing that is so obvious. I can't really like it's hard to remember a time when you didn't have it because it was so long ago.
Yeah, and it's funny, like at the time it's like I thought I was so clever because I'm like, oh, I put together the parts for like a household item, but with our stuff that is in our world.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I thought it was so clever, and I still enjoy
A
it.
flashlight for guitarists.
Yeah, literally. I mean, here, I'll say this to its own accord, not to just get to numbers, but like we've done like 800 of these things. Like
Dude,
together,
yeah.
like collectively. Like people like them, and granted, yes, there's a lot of them that are like gifts, and they're like things to send off to friends, and like
Okay, but so what? Like
it's a business
Right,
card essentially.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, like, if somebody's just gifting this to someone, perfect. Like, it's still a cool thing. I would, if somebody gifted me a flashlight that was like specific to guitar stuff like this, I would say this is my guitar flashlight. It's going in my case. It's going in my guitar bag.
Right.
It's not for the kitchen drawer. So anyway, but yeah, like I know you've done a bunch of collabs with those. I've seen them over the years. I remember Smoke Monster, but I don't remember what it does or did.
So yeah, we made 15 of those, and this is essentially. Apparently, I was on a big Lost kick because I had a name at that. I don't know what was going on here.
Cleverly anticipating the question. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, this is essentially, and I believe for Gravity Bomb V1 there might have been some verbiage in here for our website, but this is the original like Gravity Bomb, so to speak. This is just me loving the micro amp and it being underrated, I thought. And I think at the time, when I look back actually through a lot of our timeline, this was honestly like a reactionary type of thing, because this is at the time where you were seeing everybody wouldn't stop talking about the EP booster, and it's great. And there's a lot of like FET boosters out there, and you saw the super hard on from ZVEX, which is, MOSFET style. And like we were seeing all these cool, colorful boosts, and I had a reactionary, like it was an alternate reaction to it, where I was like, I want to do op amp based like the micro amp, and again, big Jack White fan. He used that, and it's like a clean, neutral, no EQ change in the frequencies that humans can hear. So it's just my like reactionary thing to like, I'm sick of JFET boosts, and that's all anybody can talk about. So I'm going to make an op amp boost, and it eventually turned into Gravity Bomb later on, which is in our release date line.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just starting to think, like, have any of these early circuits gone on to become current production things or were mainline production things? So that's interesting.
Yeah, this is the one that really like found kind of like a new skin, if you will, when we were doing Gravity Bomb, which was obviously in a mini as opposed to this one being in like your traditional MXR size for the listeners.
Right. I also remember Mustard Gas, this was around the time that like Was Deer Hunter entering the scene at this stage?
Yeah, so this would have been 2015. And this is probably when I was like getting into them. I think I probably got into them 2014 and
Yeah,
15
it's
because
about
obviously
when
yeah,
I did
the
too.
name
Yeah.
the name takes after the Act 3 song.
Mhm.
And this was, if you don't remember, this was like a lo-fi pedal that also had
Yeah.
like a fuzz mode toggle. The lo-fi, it's essentially just it completely removes your low end with extreme prejudice. You're just not getting any low end through that
Yeah.
thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's classic like old
It's a bass
radio,
pedal.
like yeah. Yeah. If you want to sound like only like the G string is left on a bass, like this thing,
Get that one,
cap
Derek?
value.
Yeah, it's just, I thought about it for one more second and I was like, it's still funny,
Yeah. This
I just like the mental picture of like someone playing a bass on a stage with only the G on it.
This is one of there was a thing, right?
And of course, like, yeah, not playing any frets, obviously, just like wailing on an open G.
This is really taking it to completion. The whole like cultural thing of would take now my guitar only. I play my guitar with only 4 strings on it. This guitar only has 1 knob. Well, this one only has 1 fucking string. And you know what? No frets.
It's G.
Just G.
No frets.
That's the only note this instrument plays.
It's the only key we need, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun, and if you see like they're these are the only 2 that were kind of like that in its origin before we get into like 2016 when we actually had but there was still somewhat of a brand identity there going on with having the nylon foot switch washer around it. It was hand painted with multicolor. Like there was still somewhat of an identity forming, but nothing that like
Yeah, totally. And like the no
hard
label thing too. No labels, no branding of like the company name. But it's like
right.
the design language that would become Coppersound is here.
Yeah, it's you see like on the Smoke Monster it had the metal knob, which we've adopted for our stuff.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I think there was a big
It's like
inspiration.
an Easter egg. It's like I'm watching a prequel. God.
There was definitely inspiration from JHS where they didn't do labels until like 2016, 2017 or whatever too, So yeah, that was really all we had for like effects pedals, if you will. And then comes in 2015 in our timeline, the biggest thing was March 13th, 2015 is when I announced like the prototype for the Telegraph Stutter.
Yeah,
So
I remember that.
That was essentially like, if I want to look at this timeline, that was kind of like the big blip in it, if you will, like the first big spike. That was the one like we went down to NAMM, we got calls to be on the cover of Premier Guitar. We had people coming to our booth to see our thing, and like it was the thing like that was it felt like a lot of small companies like us get passed around the internet and they get their like 15 minutes of fame. I thought that was our first type of like being in people's eyes, because it was like,
totally,
I know what that is, I know a guitar pedal, but I haven't seen A and B together. That's really cool. It was the first time you kind of saw that those 2 like design languages talk to each other, and it's like that was, I think now 10 years later, it's even harder because people are so creative. You got people like Game Changer Audio and a lot of others like
sending
David
lightning
Ranger
through the
stuff.
signal. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like doing stuff that way, like I had written an article for Premier Guitar about like, if you put 3 knobs on a rectangle, no one gives a shit, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's public domain. But wait, I don't
Mickey
mean to
Mouse
say
doesn't call you for that, no?
Exactly. So I don't mean not to discourage you from doing that. What I'm saying is,
3 knobs,
now,
huh? You freaking noob. Jesus.
So
3 knobs and a wish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, where I was going originally was like, it's design stuff that we've seen so common since like the 70s. But if after us you put out stuff with telegraphs on it, then the community goes, hey, hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Like this is unique enough that like it's kind of like the the social media world, and they'll kind of govern themselves, being like, hey, somebody already does that. Not that you couldn't do it, but you also
Right,
wouldn't
but
want to be
it's
the
so
second person to do it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's
the
weird.
telegraph switch itself is so unique looking. And like you're saying,
Mhm.
it's these two worlds coming together that is a striking like juxtaposition.
Mhm.
You go, I wish I had that idea. Like you can't just say I'll do that, right? Like everybody's got knobs on pedals now, but I don't know, like what you've kind of nailed it through the various iterations of this telegraph circuit, including triple graph. But so I guess for the uninitiated, telegraph V1 didn't have any like stuff inside, right? It was just the momentary switch, and then there was an option for a latching or momentary.
There was an option for either kill or activate. So
Oh,
you
right.
So
could,
it's
Okay.
either
It
an
was
on
in
button or an
reverse.
off button. Yeah.
polarity.
Right.
So we called it
And
a
it was
polarity
still
switch.
Yeah.
okay, right. So it
Mhm.
was
But it
still
was still
always
passive.
momentary. Okay.
Yes, it was always momentary. We didn't do latching until V2. So like,
Just to
yeah,
make
that
sure I'm
was-
looking at the right pictures, because I forgot to skip ahead and now I'm catching up. I don't want to go too far. This original
No.
one didn't have the first it didn't have the actual telegram switch piece. Is that right?
so no, it still had the telegraph thing. I think you want to go down
Oh, okay.
to
So I was like trying not to go too far.
Yeah, the one
Okay.
in front of third man.
The picture
If you-
is in front of third man. Okay.
yes, yeah. So that's
I
the
thought-
original year. So you're Derek
Got it.
screwed us up. His birthday or his wedding gift
Oh,
one.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't-
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I
Sorry,
catch
yeah.
on now.
No, that's fine. I mean, I wrote down a couple notes that so we did these 2015 through 2021 when we discontinued the V1. We made 2,226 units, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is.
We had roughly, if I recall, 19 finishes, which included like vein finishes, matte finishes, gloss, hand marbled ones that I would do.
Yep.
Custom paint job ones. We had sparkle ones. Honestly, looking back, probably too many freaking finishes, but people really loved
Well-
like the army relicking, and they loved
Yeah.
like that unique thing that we did. And
Well, I
it
think
was really fun.
across the board. Like pedals still don't usually come in color options. Like you're seeing it more and more,
Or relic.
especially
Or relic.
or relic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
certainly
know
that.
if a lot of people were doing relic at the time that we did this in 2015. Maybe they were.
I
but,
mean,
like, on
I
a
don't
scale,
remember,
you know.
but I remember seeing relic pedals and thinking like, of course. And you were part of that conversation at the time, but
Mm.
I don't remember seeing much of it elsewhere. I don't know. Pedals, it feels different for some reason than I with guitars. Maybe it's so odd. But I'm just looking
I
at
agree.
like my pedals. I've got a couple. Like I've got one that's of a color variant from like a Black Friday run. But if I had the option to get any of these pedals in like a certain color scheme, I think that would be awesome. Because I was for a little while very close to having a pedal board of all black, gray, and white, and I was like, "This is a cool look." But I do want this other pedal, and that's a green. So what do I do now? It was like such a dumb problem to have.
And I totally understand why it doesn't make sense from a manufacturing standpoint.
Yeah.
No, but like with these, we were doing everything in house. Like I was literally going outside to the rock driveway and spray painting them and relicking them and kicking them, and so like
Pre-kick.
I just see you're like,
yeah.
pre-stomped. I'm just picturing you out there like hanging your head like a sad Charlie Brown and like kicking a can down the road, but it's just like pedal enclosures.
Pretty much. And I look at the camera. People pay more for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A couple of the notable things on this guy was the number 14 went to Juan Aldereta, the
Yeah.
Mars Volta and pedals
He
and
does.
effects.
Yeah.
Like
So
he
how did
was,
you make that connection? Did you just like, I would just get an email and see what happens?
he messaged us on Instagram. He's like, I want one of
Yeah.
these.
Hell yeah.
But he's
That,
Nice.
like,
that's
he's
the direction
on
you wanted to go in.
he's literally on the ball when it comes to like new effects and shit like that. Like, so I was not surprised. We did one in silver and black because he's a Raiders fan. So
cool.
That was the 14th one that like I couldn't look through every single sheet, but like a couple ones that stood out were that. And then obviously number 214 went down to Third Man in 2016, which started the whole triple graph thing, which
Yeah.
that's that next picture. But yes, that was it. We did that
That's a pretty
6
big
years.
whirlwind. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like our business card. That was like our calling card. The thing that like if we met somebody at like a show for a while, we actually had our business card with the back side of it had a telegraph on it. You know, just because it was the thing that you'd remember after a day of NAMM where I don't remember anything.
Right.
You know?
It's something that sticks out. It's like, oh wait, this is that one that didn't have 3 knobs on it.
Oh, these guys.
Well, but also like
that.
all you need to do is search telegraph guitar pedal, right? Like you don't
Yes.
right? You can't just search like, oh, I saw this cool overdrive that was green, I think.
Right.
Like, that's useless. So yeah, telegraph guitar pedal, you've like already got that Google search cornered, which is a huge part of that, I think too. So there was a few times, especially with Strategy and Broadway as well, or just over the years, people have mentioned to me like, I saw this cool pedal that looked like it was made of guitar parts. And I was like, I know who made that.
Yep.
I just do, you know.
That's
such a weird like thing to encounter, but so awesome. So that was like 2015 like starts this kind of crazy run, right? So then 2016 we get into like some more like heavy hitters with Coppersound pedals, like as we know them.
Yeah, we get into like we start to actually see like the shape of stuff take place. So 2016, looking back, and I had talked about this a long time and several times, probably even on this show, that like our first official like release with like branding and silk screening and powder coating, all that type of stuff, was a reverb pedal. You know what I mean? It wasn't a booster, a drive, or a fuzz. We did the Daedalus plate style reverb, you know, and that was April 15th of 2016, and that would set the course for what would become our duet series, which is, you know, any of our pedals that have 2 foot switches.
Yeah.
So that was our first pedal, which we ended up making 425 of them, and we discontinued it last year. And maybe we'll have a reverb back at some point in another form, but as of right now, that was a fun first one that we did, and it was really, really cool to have like 2-channel reverb with an effects loop and a blend and a preamp on it. Like felt kind of unique.
Yeah, it had
for
the
time.
features.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I have a question
and,
about like when you choose to discontinue something. This might be getting too in the weeds business wise and stuff, but like how do
Trade
you get
secret.
how do you get to the stage of deciding it's time to retire something, to discontinue a pedal? Like, is it just because you want a little variety in your lineup and you're going to have something come in as like to fill that gap, or you know?
The first thing that we really like, and again, I wouldn't call like Smoke Monster and Mustard Gas like things that were like discontinued, because it never really like actively got on stage, right? It had been playing like local gigs, so to speak, right? And so if you think Daedalus is the first thing that we actually brought to market and then made, enjoyed, sold, distributed, then actively and consciously made a decision, maybe whether it's firm or soft, I would call this a soft discontinue for us, where we kind of like, we don't have any more enclosures, we want to keep making it. There's some factors there of like, business wise, how good is it doing on sales? Are people asking for it still? The cost of the thing going up. How has the market changed from 2016 for how reverbs are perceived? Is like, does it have to be Strymon? Does it have to be this? Is there a value there? Like, so there's a lot of factors that have come in.
You're like having to think of like the guitar zeitgeist. Like, what is the community like feeling and thinking at this moment?
Also, what we knew then versus what I know now, how would I do a reverb? It'd be so much different. So like a V2 might be a better noise floor, a better user interface, maybe have better features that could be smarter, that we can make faster. Those aspects of like the manufacturing side, you know what I mean? Like maybe it comes back in a different form, you know? So it's like, there's a lot of those things. And to go back to 2016 Brain, this is also a reactionary pedal too, because 2016 saw the birth of the reverb delay pedal built on like the Spin platform, where everybody was doing this huge cavernous digital delay, digital reverbs. And I was like, screw that. I'm going to do a brick in mine, like more old school for our world. And it was just
Yeah.
reactionary Radiohead. Here comes Kid A. I was just pulling that type of thing, which is fine. Like
Yeah.
I think it may have helped set us aside, but that's a good question. You know what? I'd love to be on an episode in a couple of years when we have more things discontinued,
Yeah.
and then to really answer that. Because honestly,
Yeah,
Eric, it's a hard
I figured
question.
it was kind of like like you're saying, there's never like one reason. There's never one correct answer. So if everything's piling up that like, oh, we don't have the stuff to make them anymore, but people might not be too upset about that either, right? And then you're like,
No,
well, if it's not,
Are people
if it's, yeah,
like, are people knocking down the door still for this? And it's like, dude, we still have a lot of these. Like, it's been around a
Yeah.
while. Maybe the market's shifted. Like, something like Foxcatcher as a comparison. It's still
yeah,
doubling the numbers and doing better. And it's something that isn't Telegraph or a guitar pedal looking thing that people know us for.
Mhm.
So that thing's had a longer life. You know what I mean? And actually, speaking of, we're getting to it here in our timeline so 2016, again, looking back, was like crazy. With April,
Yeah.
we released Stateless, and then right in June, we did Gravity Bomb. So, everybody listening, that was essentially like a mini boost, which the Smoke Monster turned into. So, like, having
was
those
fun.
back to back, like 2 months away, was kind of crazy to think about. But I think maybe we had more time because we had less people buying our
There it
stuff.
is.
So, yeah, you've got a Fusion one.
I got
That's
the
right.
cool one. Yeah, the big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing rips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to look back to be like April to June had 2 releases. Like, that's pretty huge. But maybe we had the bandwidth at the time. And then
Well, yeah. I
It
mean,
was-
you were also like, you didn't have much. I don't know how else to say this. You didn't have much to maintain yet, right? Like you were just
no, we just had
starting
the
out. So
Telegraph,
like,
really.
yeah. So you had the bandwidth as far as like you didn't have a whole like
Mental
product
bandwidth.
line. Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole
And the
product line
physical.
of stuff. Yeah.
I guess it'd be similar to be like getting together in a band and be like, can you guys believe we wrote 2 songs today? Yeah, because we had nothing. You know what I mean? We had
right.
ideas.
You start at 0. If you have 1, you've increased output by 100%. Yeah,
And
I've got a
that's
whole
when it-
like library of Coppersound gear over here, and
Yeah.
damn, I forgot.
Yeah, so
man.
that was June 2016, and then we rolled right into Foxcatcher, which was, I would say, another pretty good like blip for us. Yeah. What number do you have there? Can you see the number?
Ooh, I gotta peel my Velcro back a little. I know this one is a
You
B-stock.
Velcroed it, you monster.
Yeah, because I fucking play it on stage, brother. 5.
Hell
something.
yeah, brother.
In the
585?
585. Okay.
Yeah,
That would've been the-
585.
Okay, so that would have been the Gen 2 finish, because we did like 100 or so with a
Ooh.
2-coat finish, which we were
You're saying
powder
it's one of the
coating it.
good ones? It wasn't one of the ones that you made that were crap?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, people are like, oh, do you see I got a first run? Maybe wait till you get like. We
I mean,
figure it
sometimes
out.
first
You
one
know?
is first for a reason.
Yeah. Oh,
But yeah,
no,
so
that's
like
not
this
true.
is-
You always nail it. Come on.
This is one of those pedals though that I've seen on boards like in my Instagram feed or just scrolling on Reddit.
Right.
I'll see like a post and it's among
Yeah.
a bunch of other overdrives and a bunch of other pedals and stuff. And I'm like, right, it's not Coppersound posting something they were tagged in. It's like an authentic, real thing that like the community brought to my the algorithm brought to my doorstep. So like it's such a weird thing to like see it happen, see it growing outside of when we chat on the show and like when we're texting and stuff like that. It's crazy. So I keep saying that, but it's great. I love it.
It hit a lot of stuff, and again, I think that was somewhat of a reactionary pedal again, because you were seeing everybody do like Centaur clones and Tube Screamer clones and all that stuff, and I was like, you know what? Besides the King of Tone, subsequent Prince of Tone, and the Morning Glory, there's not a lot by way of the Blues Breaker market in 2016. I could be missing some. Maybe the Black Box existed. I don't think so, but like, and I know the Pantheon wasn't out from Wampler, but like in 2016, the playing field for Blues Breaker was much more open. Now it's become almost as ubiquitous as like Centaur styles and TS9 styles and blah, blah, blah. But like, I wanted to do that because I had a Morning Glory V3 at the time, and I played it for everybody in the shop, and they're like, we got to do something like this. So we did that. We put our gravity bomb in there. We got feedback from everybody around in like the community of stores and stuff. And they were like, yeah. So we got like real world betas, and they were like, everybody was like, put an order toggle on it. We put an order toggle on it. We slapped some color. We kept our form factor. Like that is kind of like the Coppersound form factor.
It is.
And,
the fork, the knobs across the top. I always see it as this like structure kind of this way. And yeah,
with the matching foot switches for like the black washer, black foot switch. Like, so that design language has been there since Daedalus, but was perfected, I think, in Foxcatcher.
And really like understood too. I think the knowledge like existed to people better after this.
Because it was an authentic 2-in-1, not like a preset 2-in-1,
Totally.
In the market, a 2-in-1, especially at the time, for $199 is obviously now is even more valuable because of inflation. But like, I think people got a 2-in-1 pedal for $200 and they enjoyed it, and it was very neutral sound. So
it's also honestly like, and I know there's like maybe, what would you call it, nepotism? When people ask me what kind of overdrive they might want to look at for a 2-in-1, like this is on the list, and it's because they're easy to get, they sound awesome, they're understandable. Like there's so many, it checks all the boxes, and I don't know. I just think, and it's, the price is good, it sounds killer. Like why not? But
I mean, people have enjoyed it. We've made to date 1,031, which includes a run of white where we celebrated like having 1,000 units made. We did some aged finish ones where we put them in the oven way too long and just like burnt the color out of it, and it looked like newspaper stuff like that. I'm bad at remembering a lot of like artists and stuff, but somebody told me the Kings of Leon had Foxcatcher at one point. And maybe there's some other artists and stuff like that I'm forgetting.
Well, I mean, you've got a pretty robust artists page on the website too. So like,
that's true. That's true too.
Look that up, huh?
Yeah. So,
but that isn't going to be organizing by the timeline.
No, it's not. But I'm just saying, the timeline is a part of this, obviously. But
just to round out 2016 in our journey here, the official production for Strategy launched then.
Yeah.
So people had saw that. Hey, I saw a thing on Reddit that looks like a Strat, but it's a guitar pedal. So we're still that sentence to most people in the world.
Exactly.
But it got like an official name, the Strategy. Like it had a form factor and everything to it, and like we were making different finishes and going around selling them to like local places and online and stuff. So it kind of got its like turn on stage for the end of 2016, which that was a big year for us. Like that was like a big first year. Like
let me ask you this: when looking at,
I don't know when I discontinue stuff.
When looking at putting Strategy into production. And like Broadway may have been on your mind at this time, I'm not sure. But like you've got Telegraph, which has a really unique look that's like mashing two things. You've got Strategy coming up that's a unique look that's kind of mashing two things, but those things are closer. Like, are you worried at this point or at all in this journey about like pigeonholing yourself into like it's got to be a cool look? Because half the lineup doesn't have that and still seems to succeed very well. But there's also these things
that's the answer,
like,
isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Like you've got both, and how do you balance that? And like,
well, like Justin said, we are kind of dancing in both. Like we've got traditional stuff for like one knob mini people. We've got the duet stuff, which is like your 2-in-1s. Then we've got the stuff like you mentioned, like Pickguard series, Telegraph, maybe even the flashlight if you want to gesture it in as kind of like a more unique item. The Triple Graph collab with Jack. Like we are actively as a company looking for that next what is it wow factor thing, which we have on the back burner that we're working on, but those take a lot more research and development and time, production, engineering, more research and stuff like that than like just putting knobs. Not to discourage anybody doing traditional pedals, because we do it as well, but those things that are going to be like, what's the next what's the next that thing? And like I feel like I can kind of confidently surmise that if we did something like that, people wouldn't be surprised because they've seen it historically from us.
Of course.
So like, oh, hey, do you see Coppersound put a friggin' spaghetti maker on their thing, and it sounds awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but
pasta roller.
KitchenAid is sponsoring this one. You know what I mean? And that's the tremolo, something like that. But there's definitely a thing. So, but like, to expand on that too, there's a balance there of like kitschy, quirky, like conversation piece, but also, dude, people use this thing. Like, they really use it.
I think that you have this use case of the telegraph right there, which goes on to become V2 and triple graph and all that, where the assembly itself needed to be substantially overbuilt for this to work in the way that it's going to be, like the setting it has been placed in.
Right.
So like, that's the perfect example.
Yeah, it had a lot to live up with the V1, which, it could have been a little bit gimmicky, but also people did not hesitate to throw money at a fully loaded colored one with the toggle switch was $79. They would just throw it. Sold itself. We didn't have to run an ad or anything for that thing. It sold itself, which is fine. And like, it might have been a little bit like gimmicky, but also those are the things that grab your attention, but you also want to make sure it isn't just like, oh, it's going to break. So you're right. When we do eventually in the timeline get down to V2, we had to make sure, like, okay, it's got the style, it's got the swag, but this thing can live up on the road. You know?
Yeah, I'm actually just looking up Rob Scallon's video from 6 years ago.
Oh,
making music with a telegraph machine. I'm going to drop this in the chat.
Yes, that was that was a big one. Like, if you're talking about like timeline for people seeing, like, Telegraph being on the cover of Premier Guitar, which we have framed here, which is cool. Awesome. And the Rob Scallon video was really cool too. You know, we had
nowadays he's at 2.5 million subscribers, but this video has over 500,000 views. And like, Rob's great at that stuff. You know, he's like finding these things and working them into music that's good and like well constructed and stuff, and so like it's a really perfect fit.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. That was kind of like a big thing in our timeline of like having a video from him, because like he doesn't do like generic stuff really, you know.
No, it's all very produced, and like there's always like a prompt, which is fun. So
we're at 2017. I think.
Yeah, so they were rounded off 2016. 2017 saw the birth of Polaris in June. That's our analog chorus vibrato, fully analog BBD bad boy. We still make them. We've made over 450 of them to date. It's still one of my favorites just because I love chorus, especially because it's small clone based. You know, that's why it's purple.
Right.
That one continued the design language, duet series, you know, silver knobs, black knob, secondary foot switch. Just a good overall chorus.
Now you've got 3 in the line that like really rounds out.
So now it's a lineup.
Yeah.
Now it's really a lineup, you know, obviously 2 minimum, but like this one helps solidify, because it literally, if you look at the 2 next to each other, Fox and Polaris, same toggle location, same black knob, same 4 across the top, like same everything. So that like helped it.
Immediately makes it feel like an ecosystem, and you're like invested in it, so to speak. Like, you know how this whole thing is going to work. Eric in the chat, the Polaris has been on my board pretty much since I got it. That's cool.
Thank you. Eric's a big supporter.
Yeah.
Well, which is really nice. So that was it for 2017 of like notable things for like the release timeline, which gets us to 2018, going on the idea of solidifying a line or like a brand's line. We have a companion to Strategy, which was Broadway. So obviously our Telly style treble booster thing gets an official. I had drawn it up at Guitar Center, like probably on the clock, to be honest. And I drew,
as you do.
Yep. I drew all the ones for it. Yep. It's like, oh, hopefully nobody listens. I get like, we have some like back taxes, only it's back hours.
You just have to go like stand in a Guitar Center for 3 hours.
Yeah. You need to unload the truck for an hour or 2. You were drawing. Right. So yeah, we in March 2018, we launch Broadway. So that's like our germanium treble booster and preamp that looks like a Telly. People see it because it's a companion to Strategy, and you know, we made a lot of butterscotch ones, and you really can't ignore the butterscotch Blackguard in our world. You know, like that's the thing. Like that's the
Of
one
course.
people want to get when they order it.
Yeah,
You know,
Although
which is
having one made to match my telly would be awesome. Like that's the thing. If I had those pedals in my rig, they would have to match my actual guitars. Just because, like, why
we've
wouldn't
done a
you?
lot of that.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of that, and it's really fun. Like to have people send in stuff like, "Hey, can you match this for my dad's birthday?" Heck
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
you know,
nice.
Awesome.
like. And I
You
will say
should-
too, like
Yeah.
going back to like the 2014 start, like when, excuse me, when I was able to do more custom stuff, which we do less of nowadays. The Pickguard series allows me to be creative, like in blips of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I think I want to do an ocean turquoise one with a
Mm.
this guard and like do it all gold hardware and like just throw it up online because it gives me like a creative outlet amongst the more
Like a
traditional
regular
or
production.
date. Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's nice having that little outlet, if you will.
That's cool. And we
Um,
see that now with like the desk lights and stuff too.
For sure. Which I
Right
don't
on.
know if I think desk light is. Yeah, we're gonna get to that release.
That's later on.
All right,
2019.
so 2019, January 1st. I remember because we were like, we got to have a new pedal for the new year, and we're going to NAMM. It was the biggest NAMM we'd ever done, 20 by 10 booth. We had custom rugs made. All of us at this point, Loma enters like the conversation, continues the design hardware, and it's red. And all of us realize, hey, there's 4 main guys in the shop, and we have the Ninja Turtles colors.
Oh, fucking
So
yeah.
our entire booth was blue, red, violet, and orange. And all of us got sneakers that were the colors that we thought the 4 of us were of the Ninja Turtles. And we had
Yes.
custom rugs made.
Why'd you say it like that? That we thought, like, was there an argument about who was which Ninja Turtle?
No, there wasn't at all.
Oh, okay. Whew.
It's just like
that's yeah.
who we thought each Ninja Turtle was. That person bought the colored sneakers
Okay.
that represented that Ninja
Okay.
Turtle.
Perfect.
And
No strife. Got it.
yeah, nope. There was nothing. It was like, hey, you're this person. Oh, heck yeah. You know?
All right.
Um,
All right. Yeah.
we even had pizza in our booth, which
Yeah.
was awful because it was Southern California pizza. But like, we had it in the booth, and people came by.
It's true though. Anyway.
Okay.
Cool.
That was a really fun NAMM show. So we launched Loma 2019. We've made 274 of them. We technically discontinued it this year. It's kind of on a soft like discontinue because like
Another
we
soft
don't
Mm-hmm.
discontinue.
I would not have
Another-
remembered that was this year. That feels more than within this year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like so many factors. I don't want to get into like the why something
Of course,
discontinues,
yeah.
but like there's a lot of them and it makes sense and maybe something comes
Well,
back
it's
someday.
going to be case by case, like with every time it comes up. Of course, like
Yeah.
it would have to be. Yeah. Cool.
So that was Loma, rounds out the 4 for our duet series. That feels like a really good lineup, having 4, and
Yeah.
only one of them is Drive, which I was really excited about because I had been, I don't know, for better or worse, kind of a hard ass with our releases of like, hey, if we do a gain pedal, the next pedal can't be gain. Like,
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
want to just have a ton of gain pedals. And no shade on companies that do that because they do it well and it probably pays the bills because the number
Yeah.
of gain pedals you need is the number you have plus 1. You
Of
know,
course.
like,
Dirt sells.
but it sells and we see that all the time. Look, Foxcatcher's still around for a reason. So,
Still catching foxes.
yeah. So, but I was very
Coppersound.
like,
10 years of catching foxes.
I was just kind of like a hard ass about like, dude, we should have like push ourselves to not just be doing gain stuff, doing like BBD stuff, doing the brick reverb, doing this all analog tremolo with some digital tap tempo. Like that's unknown
That's cool. Yeah.
area for us. And it really pushed ourselves. Like what we know now, we couldn't have applied back then, but like for the time, we were pretty excited. And I think Loma did stuff that didn't exist on the market, especially in like an analog form, having onboard overdrive to it, you know, having for like what it did, expression for ramping expression and tap tempo. Like at the time, like I thought it was pretty unique for what it had, you know?
I
So
totally agree. I think,
I'm
one of
still
the things
proud
that
of
we
that
haven't really
pedal.
talked about is a lot of the utility that's baked into the stuff that you're making. So it's not just about how it sounds, because
Mhm.
you know more than probably anybody that how a pedal sounds is like almost not a concern these days, right? It feels like every pedal is going to sound great because
Yeah,
the
there's a reason they
technology
brought it
has
to
got
market.
right. Like everything sounds awesome these days, and that's great. But also, it makes it hard to stand apart. And so, having these other utility things, like even with Foxcatcher, it's got the boost and it goes up to 18 volts. Like that's cool, right? That's a lot of
Yep.
stuff. You throw in the order switcher, like there's a lot going on here. That's just like user interface convenience stuff, right? Or not even interface, but like usability stuff. And
Yeah,
it
like
has, yeah,
not ancillary stuff, but like extra bullet points of like this really rounds off the bullet points of stuff like,
well,
oh,
it's
it
like
has and this
usability
and it has 18
enhancements.
volts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Right. And it's like
we
if you
have
had a
always been
pedal
good
that
about that.
had if you had a pedal that had all those features but sounded like dog shit, right? That's the issue. Or the other way around. If you have the most amazing sounding thing there is, but it's a pain in the ass to use,
Mhm.
well, that sucks too. Am I out of focus for some reason?
Your camera's
You
throwing
want
a
a big
fit. It's all right.
Yeah. BRB. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so yes, that's how we kicked off 2019. Big NAMM show. We'll never financially recover from this type of show. And
Uh-oh.
The pizza is expensive.
dude, the booth is so ridiculous. We
I
also
know,
traveled the
I
entire
bet.
coast of California
Mm,
for it and went to dealers and stuff. Okay, so anyway, we had those four. September rolls around of 2019, and we do this thing called Cobra Fuzz, where we hooked up with a local tattoo artist in Plymouth, and he likes pedals and he likes tattoos and art and stuff, and he did 6, custom fuzz pedals with us, like 2-in-1 fuzz
yeah.
pedals, where
So
he
sick.
did the art for them, and we dolled up it with the knobs specifically to the art and the color. For the listener, essentially it's
Mhm.
like a lot of it is like snake related tattoo vibes,
Yeah, like sort of classic
greens and
flash art
purples.
style.
Yeah. So we did that with like sexy, like he made the outside sexy. We did like a vintage like paper and oil on the inside, carbon comp resistors. We made it sexy on the inside. So that was a fun little thing we did only with one store in Plymouth as our first dealer. And
The
just a
LEDs
little
are the
nod.
eyes on most of these.
Yep. For
I
most
dig
of
it.
them, the LEDs eyes. People love
Hey,
that.
if I'm just throwing out ideas here. There's a guy that I met, a local artist I met through doing the Comic-Con up here, that has done can art for the local breweries and stuff, which is super cool. I bet he'd be down to do a pedal thing if you ever hook up with Music Mill. Like that'd be a whole Manchester thing.
Yeah,
Just, we can take this part out of the show for later. That's a good idea. Anyway, yeah.
We used to have more bandwidth to do that type of stuff, and we were doing it more regularly with artists and stuff like that. Like it's been increasingly harder every year with keeping up with a new model means a new everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
New space, new website listing, new press release thing, new, dealer
It's economy of scale. It's just like that simple.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were doing more of that stuff, and I'm happy that we got to do it. So the end of 2019 was cool. It rounds off with you have one, the Captain Hook that we released.
There it is.
Yep. So limited edition Octafuzz, like analog Octavia, octave fuzz pedal and boost in there. We kept the gravity bomb boost.
Order
we
switcher
did
as well.
75. Yep, order switcher. We did 75 units of those. One notable thing, I made one at this point I had started talking to Casey from Deer Hunter, and I made him one to celebrate 10 years of the color spectrum. You can actually see,
So good.
I put a picture there. Yep, so
Yeah, I've got it.
I've got, I think my girlfriend got me this, the box set, the first edition box set of color spectrum.
Man. I want it.
I know, I started talking to him and I was like, oh, this would be cool. So Becca put, she did a transfer onto here.
Oh wow!
So we just did the artwork of that, and I made it to him and sent it to him, and I've been chatting ever since. So that was a nice way to round off 2019. And then we got excited and we made a buffer in 2020.
The really
rad.
heavy hitting,
That's
exciting
it.
shit in the guitar world. Yeah.
That's it. Yep. But you know what?
Yeah.
It existed. And sometimes you put out a utility thing and just to have it in your lineup. And, people are really, really over the moon about it. I can't believe how much people love it. No, that's not the cool
is that
thing.
your day to day? Like, oh, another order for this fucking thing. Like,
No.
Or are you telling me that you've sold 8 of them? Like what?
yeah, like which
is this?
way is it?
It's, I don't know. Maybe we've
It could
sold
be both.
Maybe we've sold 70. You know what? It was something that we needed to add to the lineup. We felt like we could offer it to the community because we started getting into more utility stuff at this point. So we wanted to have a cool thing in a utility. But the really cool thing that we did after, though, was in September of 2020. We launched Desk Light, which Derek had mentioned prior, of being kind of like a cool, unique thing that's like custom shop. This one we've done over 200 of.
No way.
People love these. Guys, this time I'm actually serious. People love these. We can't stop making them. And we only do like 6 a month. And I'm not joking here. People
I was going to say, like,
they're on a wait list.
I see your emails come through with like, new desk light. The desk light's back in stock. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Like, it's a big fucking deal. And every time I'm like, what's going
joking?
on with
it's
the
like,
desk light?
Is he joking in the newsletter every month? Because that's the other way this could go, right? It's like, oh man, desk light back in stock. Never sold one, but you're just like, meh.
We just got a truck out back where we put them every month.
One day, these are going to be huge.
He's playing a joke on everyone, even in manufacturing. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe how many of these we're making. You're like, yeah, bud.
It's just, very slippery slope into fraud, but yes.
He's only defrauding himself. Okay. So I don't. It looks like if you put this on the desk and turn it on, it doesn't light the desk. It lights
the ceiling area.
The ceiling. So how come it isn't the ceiling light?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think anybody would like this. Like,
I'm having so much fun.
I thought it would just be I made this as a gift for Becca to like just have like by the table. Like when I get up to go pee, just throw this on with a little 9-volt inside of it. We've already got those. We got the big LEDs from Strategy. We got a toggle switch. We got a knob. Oh, here's a dimmer. And then like, I don't even know how it started, but somebody, I made a couple of these by hand and they suck. Somebody emailed me. I had just moved into my new house. Somebody emailed me like, "Hey, can I get one of those desk light thingies?" First off, I'm like, where are you seeing that?
What are you even talking about?
Yeah. How do you know about this? He's like going through my computer to get it. And I was like, okay, but I have to make a PCB for this thing. I hate soldering them by hand. I've done like 2 or 3 at this point, right? Like for friends and whatnot, and throw them online.
You're like, there's how many LEDs? God damn.
Dude, it sucks to like hand wire these. So I'm going to whip up a PC board. I was on a computer with like a table that was way too small for me to be at. And I'm like working in Eagle CAD. And I'm like, okay, these are roughly the dimensions. It worked the first time. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not just going to order one board because I can't. I have to order like 10. So I order 10 boards. I make this customer one. And I'm like, you know what? I'll make the other 4. Put them up online and they're just gone. I don't know what's going on. But it's to the point, I know we're talking about desk light a lot, and this is not the idea, but it's to the point where there's a running joke that once a month when it's desk light day, we go, well, we can pay the bills this week, guys. We got desk light coming out.
I was going to say, like, it's desk light day, pizza day.
It's like, it's like Black Friday every month. You're like, oh, man.
We had
on the books.
We had a friend, like a Guitar Center friend and colleague that we had all worked with. Sometimes he'll come over to hang out and talk shop if he's in the area. He had kind of interned here for a while too. So he came in here one day and we got like a new box of stickers for the serial numbers for the side of the box for desk light. And he sees this huge stack and he goes, "You guys really need all these desk light stickers?" And we're like, "You'd be surprised." So like every time I write the serial number, it'll be like this. I'll be like, okay, desk light number 212. Take that, John. And literally would just say it out loud. And I don't know. It's funny.
That's
Anyway,
so great.
great.
Like I love it that I don't know. How much is the big disc light?
$69. And
Nice.
dude, I don't know. People every Friday that we launch it at 9:00. Actually, I'm pretty sure if I recall right, the one time we sold out in 22 minutes for 9 LEDs on a dial. But like people love it because like you can get it as a gift and it's like pedal-y, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's also like really different. It's not like I don't know. It's not like Brown is over here making these things. It's not like JHS is making flashlights.
Eric's got his turned on right now.
Dude, I use mine every night that I have to like get up to check on the dog or like I get up to like use the bathroom because it's not like I have to find my phone, get the flashlight on or turn the full light on to wake up the lady. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, I'm going to rescue you from this. It looks like
Yes.
you didn't put a picture of triple graph in this document you sent to me.
I
So
think
I had to
we
look
could
it up
just
on
like,
my
go
own.
to the friggin' website.
Go to the friggin' website, Justin. All right.
no, well, I didn't want to like obviously triple graph is the biggest thing like we've ever done, but I also
Of
didn't want
course.
to rehash because I know we did
Yeah.
an entire episode.
we
did
did
a
the whole
launch.
thing. But
I think
yeah,
if people are here, they probably know, and that was that. I mean, it was in the wake of Desk Light, but like we did that.
In the shadow
did-
of desk light.
Yeah. So coming off the heels of Desk Light, we did a pedal that, was 4 years in the work with Jack White. Next thing,
Yeah.
No, and maybe some of your listeners have already listened to that episode, and they could probably go back to it. But in an episode for the year 2020, like September 2020, we launched Triple Graph, which took 4 years. Did it with Jack White, Third Man Records. Jordan and I
Kept it a
actually
secret somehow.
kept it a secret. We rented a car. We rented a van, drove all the way down there, delivered the first 100 in person. COVID was like really ramping up. It was a crazy time to also, but still launch this. But like, it was such a huge thing. And
you did that
like,
run, the yellow ones that were like the launch special. How many of those were there? Like 100?
Roughly 100. There was a few extra that the guys here that were part of the team got. Jack always puts the first 3 in his vault. But yeah, about the first 100 were yellow. And then
Picturing his vault, like, no, nobody plays those. Don't even look at it.
don't look over there.
Yeah, nothing to see behind the curtain.
Yeah. Then last year, I think we got together for an episode, maybe the 1 year, or no, we did a 1 year recap since Triple. But last year we did the white ones. You guys remember the white ones that we did for the 3-year anniversary? Yeah. So we did those to celebrate 3-year anniversary, Triple Graph, Third Man, 3 keys. We just really laid it on the 3s. And then actually, I don't know, I can't take credit for this on the record, but after we did that, Game Changer launched a white one as an anniversary thing too. So maybe Third Man saw that it was a good thing. It kept
Maybe they're encouraging that, yeah.
Because nobody in the Third Man lineup had anything except a limited white, a limited yellow, and then the standard black. And I was like, hey, how do we do another color? Oh,
Like white would be
That'll
awesome,
still be on brand for them. So
Yeah.
take that, Jack's branding.
Yeah, Jack
Very
White, who probably won't hear this unless Alex says, go listen to this. Take that.
Take that. All right, so pretty much 2021 was all Triple Graph because my only note here was we released an active ABY and
Big year.
No one's excited. Yeah, no one's. Yeah, big year. Look at that, 2 buffers in it. Hell yeah.
That's twice the buffer of the last buffer.
I was going to say, it's twice as big a year as the last buffer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next year we're going to have a triple buffer released with Third Man. How about that?
Nice.
Limited. So that's all
So
we're
2022.
doing. 2021 was a blip, and all we remember is making hardware for Triple Graph. And, literally that's all we could do here. This entire place was surrounded.
Yeah.
We had something that you forget is like, okay, they're doing so well. They had a PO with us at one point that was 2 separate POs, but collectively was 1,500 units.
Oy.
And we're just like, a few guys in a garage making
Yeah.
this stuff. And you forget about the space you need for the boxes that have the insert foam in it. It's like, holy crap, that takes up like
Yeah.
a large master bedroom closet.
Yeah.
Like that's how much stuff there was. So
1,500
like,
units worth. Yeah.
yeah, so we kind of actually had to reorganize the shop. We're like, all right, take all that stuff down. That's triple graph backstock. Move that here. That's triple graph like overflow. Like it was kind of crazy. You have to like shift like 100% of the shop had to shift to like that 100% that existed before triple. Now like 30, 40, maybe 50% sometimes is taking up that space. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you finish making all those units. Where the heck do they go? They go on a shelf somewhere. You know what I mean? We'd often have like a Gaylord in the back, just loading them up with layers before we got them on a forklift to ship them off.
Jeez.
But anyway,
Wow.
2022, here we are.
Yeah. So DIY.
Somehow during the triple graph craziness, lockdown and everything, I come up with the idea to do DIY. And I'm like, this will be awesome.
Wherever did you get that idea?
Yeah. Like, oh,
It's like I do it myself all the time. What's the big deal?
So everyone's stuck at home, you say?
Yeah, and you can too. You know, and really, I think we did an episode, didn't we, guys, on the DIY thing when we launched?
Yeah, we
this?
did. There's been a few, and we had you on. I think for the initial launch. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, so that would have been September. We launched it. We did an event in Worcester. So we launched that like kind of like a soft launch, but like it was officially out there. And it was just like, you know, people can go back and listen to that episode. Plus I've done other shows, but essentially the DIY is like, you know, a place for people to learn and be creative, excuse me, in the guitar world of like demystifying some of the breadboarding aspects, some of like component aspects, building kits. To my knowledge, we invented breadboard kits. There's always been pedal kits. They've been awesome. But this one's like breadboarding kits and stuff like that. Like, hey, build a fuzz face on a breadboard, then tweak it with our sub boxes and all that type of stuff. And it was something that I thought builders in the industry would like, and they did, and they do. And I've seen companies start because of it, and companies make new products because of it, which is really flattering.
Huge.
Yeah. And also people just like, hey, I've been following along and like I got these and it's really exciting to tinker with and build and stuff because like I've never got into it and you guys help break down the barrier. That's like the whole thing. And it's been big on like the educational side. So
that
was the start. That's the start of so the end of 2022, we finally get some, I would call it breathing room of like triple is all we can do besides some regular day-to-day. And now, okay, I have the idea to do this DIY stuff. Because you know what? I went into lockdown going, I want to have 20 PCBs done by the time like we can actually get back to like normality. And a lot of those PCB ideas were stuff that we would use in the shop. And then
interesting.
It was like, you know what? If I'm finding it beneficial, friends and colleagues will. And this became what I call a love letter to the industry. So put those out September 2022. They kind of start pretty fast. Like it takes off pretty well, and it'd been consistent. And it was a consistent like outfit of CSP. So we move along through, let's see, in 2022, we also did, Renegade was released October 14th, along with Gravity Bomb V2.
Right.
So we're getting back to minis. This is actually, so in addition to triple graph, feeling like we have some breathing room and we're doing the DIY and actually kind of like starting to like not be so backed up with the ideas. We're putting out, we put out Renegade, this like multi-bias fuzz. We put out version 2 of Gravity Bomb with the mids control on it, with the toggle. And we have a back-to-back, like a double release, because going back to our conversation, like a series doesn't feel like a series until there's at least 2 minimum, right?
Yeah.
To give it an identity. So that, and then you have, I think, one of them. I don't know if it was the first round, Derek, but that November for Black Friday, we did the Fusion Gravity Bombs. So for the listener, Fusion series is essentially my like alternate reality, parallel universe, like what could be, what if, So this is like a, hey, what if Gravity Bomb had like a tone control toggle and a gain clipping toggle? Okay, kind of like a what if. What if blank had blank? And that's essentially the Fusion series. Just another way for us to have fun with stuff.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
have stuff live in different skins. So, and then, well, we didn't mention really, but we discontinued Telegraph V1 as Triple Graph had come out because we wanted to have the market dry up and not have as much of a confusion thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good call.
So,
yeah.
A gap.
That was actually something that we actually planned and actually executed pretty well. So we let the market dry up with that. We let Jack's thing be center stage. It's kind of scary to discontinue the thing that's been your bestseller. People know you for Telegraph, right? So, but that was actually a conscious effort to do that and come back with a V2 after we have all of the knowledge and the hardware designed, the IP for the keys, manufacturing, all that stability. December 1st, we launch out of the gate 6 colors for Telegraph V2 with features that aren't existing on the V1 or on Jack's Triple Graph. And we launched those December 1st to kind of round out the year. And that was another like big release for us because that was something that's been like a brainchild for a while of like, what would we do for a V2,
Yeah, and it's like I remember saying this at the time, it's like very clearly the next logical step for that pedal. It's the beefier road-ready version that's got like the ruggedness, but also the features that, like you said before, the bullet list that you might be looking for to give it that final like why should I upgrade my V1 or even that? But yeah, man, nice. So okay, beginning of 2023.
Yep,
here we are.
2023. So we were clearly inspired by the Fusion series. We were like, well, the next logical step would be to do a Foxcatcher. So early in the year, in March, we did a Foxcatcher run. They were always like chrome rainbow or black rainbow, faceplates, similar design language. And that one was actually, what if Foxcatcher had clipping options that weren't the original? So I put in germanium diodes and MOSFET transistors arranged as diode pair clipping, and gives it 2 different flavors, which are pretty distinct from each other, which is nice, instead of it just being very subtle. And that does pretty well to the point where we actually have like a backlog and like a back order, because we essentially, it was like we sold out too fast, then we opened up for pre-order, which is always a weird like, quick, we gotta have a meeting of what do we do? What do we like? Like, do we offer more? Do we not? You don't want to say no to money coming in, but you don't want to like oversell, under deliver. So that was kind of fun to manage. And we got to
sure was a blast.
Yeah, it was. We kicked our feet up. We had the umbrellas and the drinks.
Yeah.
Well, everyone waited for you to build them. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Look at these pre-orders rolling in, boys.
Yeah. Nice, so okay. Yeah, maybe I use fun differently than other people, but so we roll into the summer. July comes around. We have another double release for the minis. This time it's Kingpin, a little germanium overdrive pedal, and Iris, which is, from my understanding, an original compression circuit that I invented. That comes out in July.
Just
to my knowledge.
Yeah. Okay.
To my knowledge.
To my knowledge, I've never seen anybody do compression this way. It's optical. It's fun. It's little. The artwork I love on it.
Yeah, I do love the artwork on it.
I think Jordan killed it on this one.
Oh, absolutely.
Kingpin was fun too. And I guess anybody listening that isn't from Massachusetts or like the Atlantic area, Kingpin's artwork is got candlepin bowling. Obviously, you guys know what that is, but most of the world doesn't.
Do. Yeah. Fuck them.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I like it more than Big Ball. Take that to the grave.
Big Ball.
No 10
Dude,
that's
like that's like the first time I heard someone call Budweiser Bud Heavy.
That's so good. I've heard that too.
I love it. I love it.
Bud Heavy. It's so
Bud
good.
Heavy.
Okay, so yeah, middle of 2023, we kind of solidify a mini lineup. Kind of like the duets, we got 4 of them.
Yep.
Same design language, everything. One knob, toggle, foot switch, and the truth, and go.
Yeah. Fucking yeah. Let's go.
So 2023 really also kicks up like DIY starting with branching out more. So DIY in the classroom starts to be a thing. So we start with our local place that you do it. We start doing like small little clinics and stuff that you do electronics in Needham. You guys might have remembered it. I don't remember.
I don't.
There's like Radio Shack on steroids, right?
Okay.
3 floors type of thing. So we do stuff there. We get together with some friends of ours now at WPI in Worcester, Worcester Polytech. So we're doing like an event there. We do their guitar hackathon thing. We do like their audio research lab. We start hosting classes, and that actually created us having to do breadboarding. Like we created almost the curriculum based off doing that thing at WPI, which branched off into we've got breadboards and the physics department and University of Indianapolis. We've also got some in some other schools around the country. We just recently did a class at UMass Lowell. They have a pretty good recording division. They've got like 2-inch tape in one of their rooms and stuff. Like it's some Justin Nerd shit in there. Like it's really cool. It's like I didn't know what he was talking about at some points.
That's awesome.
It's cool. So yeah, we're starting to push more of like a education side and DIY going into the classroom and whatnot.
It puts guitar stuff like in pedal making and like all these other areas of this like back into the community in a way that's not just music, right? And that's not just the arts. It's also about like maybe these are people who wanted to learn how to do this stuff and also play guitar, and they didn't know that they could connect the things, right? Or there's someone in here that does a little bit of both or neither and is interested somehow, right? And that's really captivating to me. Like I like that approach a lot.
Yeah, we've got some future plans for Berkeley and Northeastern. So we're fortunate enough to have a lot of stuff in like Massachusetts. But yeah, and you know, I'd mentioned WPI having like a technical side, but also a guitar side fills a gap that I think misses in like that Venn diagram, because you get people like Berkeley who can tell you every note and how it's associated with every key. Can't figure out the amp EQ. Then you've got people at MIT that design the thing, but can't play the guitar. So this kind of meets both in that Venn diagram.
Getting them all in the same room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're rounding them up. So we've been pushing big for the DIY in the classroom. And
I'm just a big thing. One of my big things, like as I've like become a full-blown adult, is just like the arts period, right? The arts in general. And I know like STEM is sometimes associated with like, or sometimes called STEAM, and they include the arts in part of that, which is like, feels really shoehorned to me, but whatever. I don't really know what I'm talking about there. But, you know, this is the thing in the middle though. Right?
Stop being part of the problem, Derek.
Right. Like this is the thing in the middle, which is taking engineering and stuff and electrical, you know, understanding, combining it with the world of the arts in a way that's like maybe not the most common way or the direct way that many people take. So I think it's rad. Yeah.
Very much.
You get all of it.
It's been a good time. So that kind of is most of what 2023 was. And then 2024, we've been so busy with DIY that it become an outfit that like possibly more than half of our business has been DIY.
No kidding.
Lately.
Wow.
It's been such an outfit. Besides, obviously, Triplegraph, Telegraph, a lot of our day-to-day stuff, regular customers, all that stuff.
I'm glad you clarified. I was about to ask, then it sounds like it's probably about 50% DIY and 50% desk lights, right?
Yep. No, a 70% desk light and 30% DIY.
Gotcha. But DIY is creeping up there. I mean,
don't discount it.
See, I think we'll break the internet if we do a DIY desk light.
If the desk light kit.
Do it. Here.
Coming in January 2025. Because here's the thing.
It costs $399.
It costs $369.
Nice.
The thing that I heard from your desk light story was that you don't like soldering them. I mean,
just make someone else do it.
To the customer.
At an upcharge. Yeah. That's how
we pass the savings on to you. You know, to quote Breaking Bad, how much are they saving not cutting the pizza? You know?
Yeah.
Um,
Nice. And so here we are at the end of 2024.
mhm.
And
And we've only
how's
got
this year been?
so the early parts of 2024 were still excuse me, we're still kind of us keeping up with DIY. We're working heavily on like a lot of projects right now in the fire. One collaboration, that's a major collaboration, and then new product line to hopefully launch this year. On top of like the day to day and the DIY stuff, but the DIY stuff is like the biggest outfit of it, right?
That's so
And
cool. I think it's got to be the price point, right? Like it's got to be stuff that's like, this is a cool hobby thing my friend who does guitar might be interested in. And the price is not like astronomical. Like it lands
very
squarely in
approachable.
hobby pricing for like the enthusiast, but also like to gift to someone.
Yeah.
It hits the check boxes because it's got education that's not overwhelming. The price is there,
Yeah.
and it's got stuff that doesn't exist on the market. So that really checks off so many boxes there. So we have all those things going for us. And then May 1st, I remember the date, everything got flipped on its head when Josh started doing the short circuit on the JHS show.
Yeah.
So we had sent him maybe over a year prior. He's like, hey, I want to do something with your DIY stuff. And we hadn't heard from him for like a year or so, right? And I know he's busy doing stuff. All of a sudden, he's like, hey, I'm going to do the short circuit thing. And he starts doing weekly, sometimes twice a week for a while, like he was really ramping into it right after that May 1st episode. He builds a pedal using our stuff, using our tools. At the end of the episode, he gives something away of his own stash. Eventually, we would facilitate giving it away just to help him out. And it was one of those things where the next morning I woke up and all of a sudden there was 60 orders from people that all are like, hey, I saw, it's like, we even had, we had a mandatory, how did you hear about us? Everything was JHS at the time. Like, so it was like, it was one of those things where it's like, it had been overnight. It felt like, holy crap. Like that was that morning that I realized how many email push notifications before it stops going. Like that's how
before it just quits. Yeah.
Before it's like, hey, we're not going to show you anymore because you're not paying
You're
attention.
clearly not looking.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's amazing. So I remember when that
just
launched, and I remember seeing the first one and being like, oh, sick. Like, and I thought it was a collab just that one time. I was like, that's so cool. And then as it's gone on, I see it pop up in my feed. I'm like, there it is again. Like it's just part of the show, and it's just part of like the whole setup. It's so cool.
Yeah. So we've done that since May 1st. So we're May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So it's been about 7 months now. We've had 1,300 orders since then.
Oh my God.
It's been, it's just been stupid. Also, granted, we have holiday time, right?
Okay.
Everybody's really getting stuff for holiday.
Sure.
That's great. But dude, the JHS train, we're just like, dude, it might be like this for a while. Like, we still have 100 orders for pending right now. I don't even know why I'm doing this. I got up at 4:30 this morning, guys, because we had so many friggin' orders.
And he's like, I'm going to do a podcast.
Why am I on a podcast? I gotta go.
I'm literally like gonna hit like that. My odometer's gonna roll around.
This is gonna hit YouTube, and the YouTubers are gonna notice it next to the short circuit and be, oh shit, this clown. This is what he's doing instead of fulfilling my order.
Yeah, right. So
that's awesome, dude.
It hasn't been the same since that show. He's been doing kits right now as like a break before he comes back. That's the other thing too. Like we did an actual collab with them. One of our breadboard kit models is a JHS model.
Oh, sick.
So about a year ago, I had thought about like reaching out to some bigger companies like Earthquaker and stuff like that of like, hey, do you want to do like a legacy pedal of yours, like an old thing you discontinued years ago?
Oh yeah.
But it works out with the JHS thing because they promote it, we promote it. There's a mutual beneficial thing there. It's just been really great. So that has been, since May 1st, that's been pretty much like all we've been doing here, besides day-to-day and working on some new stuff in the background, triple graph, restock, all that type of stuff. So it's been, I hear a lot of my colleagues and other podcasters mention like the industry being slow, and I definitely felt that for a lot of it. It's been very fortunate for us that have a lot of these outfits that are very unique in the world. Because I totally agree. It's been a tough year.
I know, like we say on this show all the time, like we have burnout about gear.
Mhm.
And it's changed the format of the show a bunch, obviously. And we haven't talked about Mystique yet, but we will in a moment, which is I'm excited to hear more about. But
Mhm.
I think it's just that you guys have done such a good job of like doing the thing we all need you to do and like expect you to do, which is pedals, right? Foxcatcher, Gravity Bomb, like the heavy hitters that we know are like, I can trust Coppersound with doing this job. And then it's like all this other stuff that's not ancillary, it's not adjacent. It's just like this is the actual thing that it's taking shape. And like if the community is pushing you in this direction of like DIY and utility, right? Who are you like why would you ignore that and to go on that ride, right? It's been like look at the last 10 years and like could you have predicted a whole DIY thing in the days of mustard gas and stuff, right? No. Desk lights and all that.
No, yeah,
I'm kind of
and the
just
community.
rambling, but yeah.
No, it governs itself, and it kind of tells you what it wants to see more of.
Yeah,
No.
that's a good
If you're
point.
listening.
Yeah, if you're listening, and you got
Yeah.
at least an ear to the ground.
Yeah.
It's been.
I mean, yeah, Eric in the chat saying not to mention one of the only brands that does these kinds of things. Totally agree. Yeah, I there's not many other pedal manufacturers that do the thing that we trust and need them to do on top of like this
Right.
community connection stuff. So tell us about Mystique to celebrate 10
All right.
years.
So here's the cap. Yeah. So Mystique is a limited edition, all discrete, all germanium fuzz and boost pedal to celebrate 10 years of CSP. It's in the duet form factor, right? So it's got silver knobs with the white foot switch, black boost knob with the black switch, fully germanium 2-stage fuzz pedal in the vein of like a tone bender, but it has actual EQ to it because fuzz is hard to have EQ to without taking away its essence or sometimes its veracity. But I was able to essentially add low and high pass filtering to this to keep its essence, but also have some EQ ability here. The boost side of it can be pre or post the fuzz, and that itself is also fully germanium. So it's a full germanium boost pedal.
Because it's Gravity
as well.
Bomb, right?
No, it's not. It's a germanium.
Oh,
It's
it's a
not that.
it's
yeah,
okay.
It's
Sorry.
an actual.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Usually we do Gravity Bomb, right? So this is a full germanium, like clean boost, essentially built off of a germanium transistor. Which is so. This is the first time we actually have like a traditional fuzz kind of in the lineup, even though it's, not going to be around forever. We only did 75 of them. They're all white, and they've got black and gold artwork.
I love the artwork, by the way.
Thanks. It's similar design language where it's like two things that don't go together. Jordan was like, what do you have for, like, it sucks. We wanted to call this Doppelganger, but it had existed already.
Oh.
Which would be so awesome.
But
how often does that problem come up?
A lot.
But of all the pedal names that you could copy, can't you copy Doppelganger?
Probably. It's tough.
I mean,
here's
if you're
one, here's a
allowed
couple
one.
things. There's a couple factors here where it's like, do you want to take something that already exists on the internet for a long time that has SEO related to it, searchability? You want to carve out your own name. It gets frustrating when you see a cool name and then it's like a fuzz pad. It's like, dude, this name would have been awesome for a reverb. And then you know what I mean? Like, it feels like a waste sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I shrugged it off. Jordan was like, do you have any other names? I was like, well, germanium has that aspect of like, it's really finicky. We love what it does. We're not really sure what it does. So it has a mystique to it. So I said, Mystique's been in my library for a while. So he's like, okay, let's work with Mystique. Do you have any artwork ideas? And I said, honestly, all I've come up with is transistors that look like they have jellyfish legs. So
yeah. So I was going to say like tentacles. Yeah.
So for the listener, a lot of germanium transistors look like top hats. Think of Slash on stage.
Yeah, they're like a can.
Yeah.
A little tiny
so it's like
can.
Yep, it's a little can with like electric like tentacles coming out of it. There's three of them because there's three transistors in the thing. They're black and gold. Um, it's got a cool, sleek look to it. There's only 75 of them. Most of them are gone. Actually, you know what? I don't know why I put 75. There's only 50 of them. I lied. There's literally only 50.
Okay, that means even more of them are gone, or how many you got left?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it's
I bet it's less
no,
than
we
50.
don't have 50 left. Yeah, we have less than 50.
Okay, noted.
So this is a fun way to celebrate 10 years because
For sure.
we've never had an all germanium pedal. We've had Broadway, that's germanium. We've had germanium stuff in Kingpin and Fusion stuff. We've had fuzz pedals like Renegade. That's more of like a that's all silicon. But this one is a germanium and fuzz and a traditional duet. And this is honestly going in our timeline. This is the first duet form factor pedal since Loma in 2019. So it's been 6 years, or it's been 5 years, because we've been doing the minis and telegraph and triple graph and DIY. First time in 5 years we've had a duet, and it's white, so it's like an inverted where like the color is the art as opposed to the enclosure. So it's a fun celebration of 50 units that we'll never be able to do again because at least the place I found all these transistors, they stopped selling them because I think I bought every one. So we literally can't make
That'll
more of
do.
this.
Just emptied a warehouse and made a
That'll
pedal.
do.
Yeah.
Huh. And it's tone bender based, huh? More or less?
Yep, essentially Tone Bender, MK 1.5 or Fuzz Face, if you will. But
Interesting.
yeah,
I do enjoy a tone bender.
I think most
I haven't bought a
do.
pedal in a long time, actually.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. I'm not saying
I'm
anything.
just saying there's less than 50 around.
Just saying. When is the last pedal I bought? I don't know. It's been a while. Anyway. Fucking
So that's 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Man.
That's pretty good.
10 years. Yeah, that's it's. This is.
I mean, I want to
been
say
a crazy
congratulations for 10
Thanks.
years. Congrats. Like, that's amazing. I'm so like proud friend to see it happen and stuff, and to watch. Like, I get on the newsletters and I see stuff where you'll send me like a little text, a teaser, and like every single time. So stoked about it. And I'll go in the server, guys, guess what? I was just talking to Alex.
Secrets.
Yeah.
It's been fun to like debrief with you guys every like 2 years or so.
I like
you
it.
know?
Yeah. Well, because we're just here like watching you with like, we're cheerleading, like, yeah, Coppersound. We're kind of like always dropping mentions of stuff like the DIY kits, and actually here on my desk.
Yeah, no,
to be
follow
to be
along.
built is the circuit stuff. I'm having a couple weeks off with Christmas time coming, so this is on the to do then, and I love it. I love it. I love being close to the other end of the guitar community like this too. Like to be having the look inside how this happens and your perspective on the community and stuff. It's so different than mine and different than ours and the shows and all that stuff. So
But yeah, you will. It's cool to have like manufacturing side of things. Justin's got like a studio recording side of things, and you've got like the still doing like the live play type of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So covering
Yeah.
different aspects.
yeah, we got it all, baby, here at the Tone Control.
And that's
Awesome,
that's what you're
man.
getting when you listen. You're gonna get excitement about desk light. And that's about it. Which those might be
75% desk
dropping again
light.
soon. They might be dropping again soon, guys. I
Mm.
don't know. I
Once a
literally
month.
got no lie. I had a guy order. Dude, one last thing. We were in Connecticut in October doing a pop-up show for one of our dealers in Plainville. I don't know how far you grew up from Plainville, Connecticut.
Not nearby there, no.
But anyway, we were in that area for a pop-up. Somebody comes in, and it's always the thing. Literally, like, Jordan will be like, what do you want to bring to the show? Let's bring a little bit of this stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not this time. Well, if we don't bring that, somebody's going to ask. And if
Yeah.
we bring this, nobody's going to want to play with it. Literally, somebody comes in there like, hey, do you have any of those pick guard looking ones or any desk lights here?
Fuck.
What the heck? Like, are you kidding me? So somebody comes in like, dude, I saw those desk lights she did. Like, do you have any more? I was like, you can check the site. I think we have one more. He goes, I just bought it. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I'm busy right now.
and then I get home And he emails me like, hey, can I get 4 more for gifts? Any color you want, just make them. Sure. So I sent it to him, got an email today.
God.
Dude, everybody loves the gifts. I need 2 more. And I'm like, this thing, I don't
There's
know
still
what
a
it
place
does.
I can't see in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ceilings that need to be lit in all my rooms.
Oh my God.
I need to make Justin a custom one that has like 3D printed legs that turns upside down so it can actually light up.
Mine is the only desk light.
Yes. Not desk on desk light.
Yeah.
What up, nerds? Mine's a desk light that lights the desk. You
That's
wish.
so funny, man. I'm just picturing like it's like this size enclosure, right? So I'm picturing like just somehow affixing this to like a rod to use it as a flashlight. Like it's just on the end of a baseball bat.
It's like a selfie stick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was so much fun, and thanks for putting together the document and everything. And
Yeah. Really great to take a look at what a successful time you've had.
Yeah. Congratulations, and here's to more years of desk light.
All hail desk light.
All hail desk light. Can you do a Hypnotoad graphic on desk? Anyway, okay, enough desk light. That's it. We can wrap it up. That's fine.
We can. Hey, so like we said at the top of the show, come hang out in Discord. The link to that is in the show notes, as always. And you can find the giveaway channel in there and go vote on those riffs. And the winner of that vote will get a Canalia by Lollygagger Effects. Thank you, Sean, for that. It's awesome. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to pick a winner. I can't wait.
All right. We'll definitely be getting back to that soon and finally pick that. And I know Sean's already started building it, so
Yep.
it's in progress over there. That's it. So thanks to Alex from Pedal Sound. Pedal Sound? Is that what I just said?
Yep.
Pedal Sound. Good God. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave that in. Thanks. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Alex. This was fun. Good to see you as
Super
always. Thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks to the patrons. You know what to do. Support the show. Stuff's in the links and the things and next to the other stuff. So thanks to the patrons. And where's my button for the ending? Here it is. Oops, that wasn't the right one.
I was going to say.
Friggin', it didn't play. Hold on. Play outro.
He's done
It's been a long day. I've done it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the patrons who are Rabbi Bob, Peel Neert, Carson Ricketts, Matthew Fenslaw, Ryzen Wolf, B Gao 69240. Really?
What? Sorry.
Why does that say B? Derek, what are you doing? Oh, B Gao 69420. Oh, sorry, now I get it. Andrew Walsh of Andrew's Alcove, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects, and literally just a guy. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.